Well, hello, hockey fans. Randy McKee here with Hockey 605, and I want to welcome you to our very first this week on the Ice Show. We got a great show for you tonight, and over here on our right we have the incredible Randy Preston. I call him the voice, and actually I gave you the nickname Velvet, I think, about 2 days after I first met you.
Whatever.
Well, and we figured, if we're going to have a hockey show, we better have somebody who knew something about hockey.
Something doesn't hurt.
And, of course, we're coming to you live from the beautiful Shields Iceplex here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And we have the manager of this facility, Brian Prisby, here with us to kind of talk about some of the trials and tribulations of running a big three-seater.
Sounds fun.
Brian, we're happy to have you here tonight, too.
Glad to be here.
So, I would really like to kind of kick this thing off, having you, Randy, kind of talk the decades that you have in hockey at all these different levels.
Well, it's been kind of an interesting road. It started pretty close to 20 years or about 15 years ago when my son started playing, and his entry into hockey was very strange in that he had played soccer for several years as a young child. We were over at the Expo building across town for a winter soccer game. He walks out of the building, and there's all these kids dressed up in all this gear, and he says, "Mom, what's that?" And Mom says, "That's hockey. You don't want to have anything to do with that." And he kept bugging us, and eventually he went out the next year. His first time on the ice was skate, fall. He took off after that, and then it was, about 10 or 11 years of a lot of fun after that. And that's really when I became involved. We started going to Stampede games about that same time. And over the years, I became the go-to guy for PA for Trevor's team and some of the other teams for Sioux Falls Youth Hockey. And about 6 years ago, I was asked to help with the off-ice officials for the Stampede. And I became one of their rotating guys that kind of moved from position to position, doing the goal judge or doing the penalty box, or, well, I was a computer guy, so help us with point streak or run the scoreboard or whatever. 3 or 4 years ago, when the arena put in the high-def TV, I asked to go upstairs and start doing what they call video scoring. So any goal that was scored, I went upstairs and reviewed it on the video system, and then actually assigned the goal and the assist for the official scoring for the USHL. That became a lot of fun. A couple years go by, and Gary Weckworth discovered that I was kind of the PA guy for the Flyers, and gee, we were short a PA guy one night. Can you come help us? And I learned how to do their script and all of their stuff, and eventually I did 4 or 5 PA gigs for the Stampede that year, did 4 or 5 PA gigs for them last year, and then this year I am now halftime PA for the Stampede in the new Premier Center. It's a lot of fun. And I'm also going to be helping out a ton here. I can't wait to do some varsity and some other games here for the Flyers.
I'm just looking at the penalty area there, and I see they have a real nice booth set up there for you, like they do in all the rest of the arenas. And so, we're looking forward to getting some games with you, doing the announcing while we're doing the live broadcast.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, Brian, it's still a pretty new facility. You guys opened up here about a month ago,
Yep.
I guess, and been a lot of ice use. I mean, we're out here a lot, and people are skating.
Yeah.
And I've never seen so many Zambonis do so much work in a row. I mean,
Right.
You got them working.
Yeah, well, we have to train about every Zamboni driver that we've hired out here except for one, so that's been an interesting twist. Our other full-time employee, Eric, is an expert at it, and he's trained all 10 of them how to drive a Zamboni because none of them had any experience, including myself. So we're learning. We've got 3 sheets to learn on. Each Zamboni that we have 3 here, are a little bit different. So it's getting used to those little tricks of the trade with each Zamboni. But just one of the many things that as you're building any sort of business or establishment, you're going to come across a few, curveballs every now and then, and each day has had them. But nothing's been a showstopper. We've been on schedule with all 3 rinks. We skated on the Stampede rink for the first time this weekend with all 3 sheets up and running.
It was great seeing and talking to Noel Needham. Legend Hockey had some training sessions here. And one of the dads I was talking to said, man, it's just so wonderful. I have a kid over there on the goalie camp and a kid here in the skating camp. He said that's the first time this has ever happened for us before. So, you know, we're already seeing a lot of increased activity and participation because of having the sheets of ice. And Noel told us they skated over on the north rink yesterday too.
Yep, it's being used, and you know that's one. As a Sioux Falls Flyers hockey parent, when we'd have to go to the Expo or the Spurk, there was at least 1 or 2 times a year that I'd show up at the wrong rink. That problem's been eliminated now because they're just coming to one rink. So if you get lost to another rink, then you're in a different town. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Well, I imagine if you pulled up to this thing, you'd probably, if you pulled up anywhere else, you'd probably know that you weren't at the Iceplex.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a pretty impressive
building. It is, yeah.
So what are some of I mean, you know, you were here a lot this summer with the hard hat on, walking around, and anytime you get a project this big, there's a lot of electrical connections. I don't know how many miles of plumbing you have in this building, including your refrigeration and stuff. What have been some of the challenges of getting this monster up and running?
Well, the challenges are that, you know, there's a bunch of different contractors that have to work together to try and get this done, and you know, there's from the boards guys, the Becker equipment, the guys in the back doing the compressor system to get everybody on the same page, so that when we scheduled camps and we scheduled Flyers knock off the roughs and figure skaters and men's league hockey, that all the contractors are on the same page, so that the ice that we booked is ready for the ice that we booked. But it's come along. We haven't had any, you know, snafus. We've had to juggle some rinks around because you can't have figure skaters doing jumps in a fresh sheet of ice or on a new sheet, because they'll go right down through into the logo. So we've had to jostle a few things around, but other than that, it's been a very smooth transition.
And the numbers of people coming to skate have been really impressive. I mean, it's busy all the time here. I mean, it's busy on the ice. It's busy out here putting people put skates on.
Right. Yeah, stick and puck has kind of been the coolest thing to see kind of just take off here. It's not something that we've had in Sioux Falls, but basically just an opportunity to skate and shoot a puck around. It's fun.
And listen to some good music.
And listen to music at the same time. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
So I know you've got some event schedule coming up, and I know as we moved into November, you've been talking about that having a little more standard scheduling for stick and puck and open skate and all that.
Yeah, October 31st, next Friday, is really our first night into the winter season where everything pretty much is consistent night after night. The Flyers practice the same night every week. The figure skaters are the same night. The adult men's league is the same night. So everything gets real consistent, and our public skates and our stick and puck will be the same nights and days. And that just will make things easier for the public to know, okay, do they have stick and puck or open skate? Well, we do. They're locked in. They're on our website, and those times very rarely will change.
Yeah, and now I guess you're going to have a lot of scheduled skating with all the Flyers teams, you know, having regular schedule.
Yeah, they're in tryout mode right now. This last week was their first week of tryouts, so wrap up tryouts this week, and then the following week they'll get into their team assignments and then practice Monday through Sunday. I mean, every night, day of the week, Flyers are out here.
So I guess probably the best place to check to see what the schedule is now get on the calendar.
Yeah.
SealsIceplex.com.
Yep, exactly. SealsIceplex.com.
All right. I don't know, Randy, if you had any questions for Brian, but I mean, we got him here. We may as well interrogate him.
Yeah, why not? No, my biggest question, I hear you've got some really cool things planned coming up for some of the varsity hockey things that are coming up in the future.
Right. Yeah, we do. And, you know, this one thing that I've got 2 kids that play at the varsity level. And there's really not a great lot of knowledge about high school hockey here in Sioux Falls or in South Dakota, really. You go to, you know, Minneapolis or the Twin Cities, and you know, they sell out Xcel Energy Arena for the state high school tournament. We would have maybe 100 people at the most at a varsity game at the old Expo, and we wouldn't even play varsity games at the Spur because it was too small. But now we've got this facility here that will seat 1,300. We've got you doing some games, which is a great addition to it, which you've done before. I'm trying to bring in some of the pep bands from the high schools around town and really just get the kids that don't play hockey, that have friends that play hockey, to come out and watch and support, and maybe a little taunting back and forth to the opposing crowd, just like it was when I was a kid growing up watching high school hockey.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Now, does I don't believe Sioux Falls has any tournaments, any state tournaments this year. Do we have anything else scheduled?
We have Bantam, Bantam's Pee-wees, and then Mites have tournaments that will be out here. High school age does not have a tournament out here. We put in a bid to get the state high school tournament. We lost out on it to Brookings. We'll host it again. But I think as teams come here this winter and see what a great place this is, and that there's plenty of seating, there's a full concession, there's a comfy, very large area in the lobby there, that people want to have the state tournament here. We've got more hotels to host families and restaurants, and kind of a no-brainer to come to Sioux Falls.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that through my involvement with Sioux Falls Youth Hockey over the years, Sioux Falls was always kind of the butt of jokes just because of our facilities.
Right.
This really will help sell Sioux Falls as a hockey destination.
Yeah, not just a destination in South Dakota, but a destination in the entire Midwest. I mean, we've got some Planet Hockey camps coming this summer. We've got Noel's Legend camps coming this summer. We've got people coming from all over, and we're such a great location in the Midwest with 2 interstates across the paths that people want to come here, and they'll definitely want to come here when they see what we've got here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's all I've got for Brian. Do you have anything else, Randy?
Well, I get to talk to him all the time, so there's probably stuff that I ask him every day that I should be asking now, but you're not off the hook yet. You're going to have to come tell
That's
us
fine.
a little
This
bit
is
more
fine.
about it.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Crisby, thanks very much for joining us here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to be hopping up here with Brian Corey, the president of Sioux Falls Youth Hockey and the Sioux Falls Hockey Association. So we're looking forward to being here a lot with you announcing, with us doing the live video streams of the games, with you taking care of everything else and solving all the problems at the Iceplex. And I think we're going to have a great winter.
Look forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Nice job. It'll be fun.
I want to thank Home Federal and let all of you folks know that we're very happy to have them partnering with us on the entire 605 network. You probably have a Home Federal branch in your town, and if you do, please go in and thank them for helping bring more hockey and other youth sports to South Dakota. We're really proud to be a partner with Home Federal, and really looking forward to many more chances to be with them. Well, we're going to jump in here now and talk with Brian Corey, president of the Sioux Falls Hockey Association. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Randy, I think you've known Brian probably a little bit longer than I have, and I'm going to let you do the interrogation this time.
Well, that sounds great. First of all, thanks for coming, Brian, tonight. You and I've got a little bit of a relationship over the years from Sioux Falls Youth Hockey.
Yeah.
Tell us, well, I'll throw the general question out there. What's going on right now?
Oh, we have all kinds of things going on right now. We're in the middle of tryouts. So we had the first week of tryouts completed this last week. And then we start the second week coming up here. So we're keeping the rink full, and we've had a hockey clinic that we sponsored where we brought Dan Houkin from the East Coast to work with our kids, which was tremendously successful. So yeah, we just got things going on all the time.
Perfect. So how many different teams will Sioux Falls Youth Hockey have out this year in the league and at the squirt and mite level?
Sure. Yeah, we'll have 5 squirt travel teams plus our house program. We'll have 4 peewees. We have 3 in the Bantam leagues. We'll have 2 varsity and JV. Then we'll have our Lady Flyers at the varsity and JV level. Then we'll have, I think we'll have 5 traveling mite teams, and then of course our house program. So we're filling it up.
Filling it up. How many start with how many skaters and how many families involved this year?
Well, we're still putting final numbers together, but we'll probably be somewhere in that 525 to 525, 530 probably on skaters. About 375 families probably.
And that seems to be up from previous years. Is that?
Yeah, we do have higher numbers than normal. We have our squirt program is at the highest numbers ever. Not only the travel program, but even more impressively, which really makes us happy, is in the house league. Our house program is really taking off this year.
Very good. In terms of Brian had mentioned there are some youth hockey tournaments that are coming up. I'm assuming that the Flyers have quite a bit to do with that, the planning and the design of the tournaments and the staffing of the tournaments. Can you give us a little bit of an insight on that?
Yeah. Sioux Falls Flyers are sponsoring tournaments at the Pee-wee, squirt, and mite levels. We'll have 2 squirt tournaments, a Pee-wee tournament, mites, So yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. It's 4 more tournaments than we've had in a year before. So
That's very cool.
yeah, it's been great.
We've got a lot of you've got a lot of different teams coming.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of new things going on. This facility being one of them.
Right.
Can you tell how this facility is helping to grow the sport?
Oh, I think it's helping in a lot of ways. Like today, I was out here, and they had the stick and puck. And you look on the ice, and we have on the north rink, it's Golden Flyers playing hockey, and just being able to get on the ice and just play in a non-formal setting. I mean, it's not a practice. They're out there playing and having fun. In the center rink, we had our first-time skater program going on. So we have, we had 2 sheets in one facility that we've never had the chance to do. So these kids, they just come on here and hang out. They just go from rink to rink, and their buddies are here, and it's just been a great experience.
Very cool. I'm going to ask you a question on a personal note. Brian has asked me to help with a few of the varsity games here. Are you going to have some heat over there for me this year?
Other than what you provide, yeah. Yes, we will have you nice and warm.
Right. No problem.
They're and the promise to have plenty of heat on the ice too, Randy.
Yes.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Just a couple of other quick questions then. How is the coaching this year? I know in past years we've had trouble getting coaches to some of the levels. Are we covered this year?
yeah, coaching's going really good at our varsity boys. We have new head coaches for both our teams, and that's very exciting. I think that program is just going to explode. At Bantam levels, Pee Wee Squirts, yeah, I mean, we really have a good set of coaches. Very, very, very fortunate.
Very cool. Talk a little bit about, we spent a little bit of time talking about the league teams.
Yes.
Let's talk about the house teams, in particular the older house league and even the younger house league teams. How are they going?
They're going really well. One thing that's kind of been the focus, and we really want to build a good house program, and we're calling it the City League. We're starting this at the Mites, where we're actually developing a league within the city of Sioux Falls, where these kids, instead of just being on the ice and playing scrimmages, they're going to actually have a city league. It's going to be just an absolute great experience for them. At our squirt level, we have more kids in our house program this year than we've ever had at the squirt level. Our older rec program's doing really well, but I think that you're going to see over the next couple years a really dynamic city program.
And as we grow here in Sioux Falls with hockey, I know that at the Pee Wee level and at the Bantam level that we've done an East-West split.
Yes.
I hear the rumors from the state that that's going to be growing a little bit up into the upper levels. Can you give a little bit of information on that?
Trying to get me in trouble?
Oh, no, I'm not. I mean, I know where we've all come from on it. I just want to know what your perspective is.
Well, as our numbers grow, there's certain things that we have to fulfill for the state. Pee Wee level, we're split. In Bantams, we're split. What we do at the next level, there's kind of a calendar of how they want us to proceed, and we'll follow that calendar.
Very good. Randy, do you have any questions?
Well, I do. I know that we're right now, and we're all across the state. We're doing tryouts, evaluations. You have some of that going this week,
Right.
but you still have some teams out going to tournaments. And well, at least one of the dads told me over the weekend that his girls are playing some tournaments here and there. Is that is that something that has happened all the time, or are you starting to get out a little bit earlier now and do that?
Sure. As far as our tournaments, we're not out on any tournaments yet, but I think what you might be hearing about is the Tier 1 programs. Tier 1 programs have really grown in size, and in fact, we have 17 kids this year that are on tier 1 programs in the area, and that's unheard of. So I think that's where you'll see some of these kids playing in tournaments is through the Tier 1 programs, and that's a good credit to our program, to Sioux Falls Youth Hockey, because obviously our kids are putting a quality product on the ice. They're quality skaters, and now you're seeing that with these programs coming in and picking them up in Tier 1.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, and maybe you want to stick around. But in transitioning over to youth, okay, one of the things that and we were talking about this before the show, dealing with getting cut. I mean, there's only so many jobs on a team, and you've got more kids than that. Somebody's not going to go along, and I know Carol this week posted up 2 stories on Hockey 605. They're right there on the front page if you want to go look at them, about how to deal with number one, how to, deal with the tryouts. And if you're a parent, how to deal with your kid getting cut. I was on your website earlier today, and you have a real good article on that about the tryouts. So how, you're probably around, are you seeing a lot of trauma so far, or a lot of stress among the kids?
Well, first one thing, none of our kids in our program are cut. What we do is we do placements. So every kid on our program who wants to play travel hockey will play our travel hockey. What we do is we just try to assign them to teams where they're going to have the most success. So we don't cut anybody out of our program. We just place them on the teams that we think they're going to be most successful. But yes, excitement, anxiety, all those emotions that kids can go through, yeah, they go through it this week and next, and probably the parents even more so.
Sometimes the parents want it more than the kids, And that, I've seen that through 2.5 decades of coaching and being one of the guys that had to make that decision. But the kids usually, if we feed them the right kind of information, they can use that not making the top team as a motivation to do a little more work and do the right thing to get themselves in position to do it. And frankly, some of the kids, just physically are not. We all got our set of genes, and we've got to go with what we got.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. And what I always try to tell parents, when we try to tell parents, is whatever team your child's placed on as a squirt or peewee, it only means that for that year. It doesn't mean that next year they're not going to be able to get on a different team. And it's a learning experience, and these kids are being placed where they're going to be the most successful. And frankly, if your kids put on a team 1 versus team 3 and they're not ready for team 1, that's not helping them.
And they're not going to have a good experience.
They're not. No.
Well, speaking of that, and talking about the high school season coming up, I've been on the websites all around the state, and it looks to me like they have a lot easier time scheduling the girls' game and getting those posted. They had a lot easier time picking the girls' tournament where it was going to be. What is the issue with the people who are doing the boys' schedules and picking the boys' tournament? Why does it take 2 months longer to do boys than it does girls?
Well, a couple of things. The boys varsity tournament.
I am trying to.
Yeah, no kidding. The boys varsity tournament actually goes out for bid. It's the only bid tournament that we have. So that tournament isn't decided until the September board meeting. So that one will always take longer. I think probably with the scheduling is you see so many more numbers in the boys programs that it just takes just a matter of numbers. It just takes longer. And this year was a little bit unique in that we had, even in September at our last board meeting on the state level, you had teams moving within weeks. And so then what that does is then they have to reschedule it again. So it'd be nice if the process started earlier and tryouts were done earlier, so this could all take place sooner. But it's just a matter of numbers.
Maybe we'll have to have Google write an algorithm for them to get that.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be nice.
Well, Brian, I want to really thank you for being with us tonight. Really do appreciate that on our very first show. And I'm sure we'll be asking you to come back and fill us in on what's going on in Fire Hockey and with all the rest of the stuff you got going on. But boy, you got a great facility to grow your program from. You got all these people coming out here. It's the future looks pretty bright for all the ice sports here.
Well, I appreciate that. And I want to thank you for having me, and best of luck. This is an awesome thing you guys are doing on Sundays, and I look forward to tuning in.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right,
all right, well, let's talk a little bit about our friends at the hockey headquarters. The guys down there, we spend quite a bit of time down there at the hockey headquarters. It's kind of like, how people used to go to the barber shop, and that's where we like to go do a little bit of visiting. But the guys down there are ready, willing, and able to help you reach your goals. And what we want you to do is go by and check them out. They have a huge amount of inventory right now down there. They have all the skill to get your gear fitted right, so you aren't ordering something off the internet and going, oh, why do these skates hurt? Or, why does my foot flop around in there? So, a bunch of great guys are great sponsors of ours, and we really want to give back to them because they're doing such a great job for us. All right, well, Randy, let's kind of move on to what's going on around the state.
Sure.
There's not really a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of people getting prepared,
right?
In the high school tryouts and all that stuff. And one of the things that we're seeing though is that the figure skaters just carry on. I mean, they're like a 12-month-a-year deal. And I wanted to talk about a young girl that we heard about out in Rapid City. If I can find the right paper. I talked with Chris Rogers with Black Hills Figure Skating over the weekend, and they're getting ready for their big show in the middle of December. But she talked about a young girl they got there named Alex Rogers, and she just competed in the Upper Great Lakes Regional, won a silver medal in qualifying at the intermediate level, placed 6th in the free skate and 9th overall. So, I mean, I looked in there and I didn't see any other South Dakota girls. So, and one thing that Chris tells me about Alex and her family, they put on the miles getting her out there. And obviously, if she's getting that kind of recognition, she's putting the time in on the ice, too.
Oh, absolutely.
That figure skating takes a lot of time.
Figure skating is an absolute, time burner. I mean, I've heard rumors of these girls and guys, at the rink, 5 o'clock in the morning, working 2-3 hours, and then coming back after school and doing the same thing if the ice time's available. And unfortunately, like ice time in South Dakota is known, there just isn't any. So she's probably picking up ice time at the odd hours when nobody else is there.
Well, I was here doing a live test the other day on the main rink here, and they had the thing full of skaters, and I mean they were just rotating them in and out. They'd come skate for 15-20 minutes, and they'd bring a new shift of skaters on. They had the instructors down there, and they're working on just the most minute details. But in figure skating, if you aren't perfect, that shows because you're the only one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there were figure skaters walking out the door as you and I were walking in here tonight.
Yeah.
So we know they were here practicing a little earlier tonight.
And the only other figure skate news I have for you that happened this week is Yankton was raising money with their annual rummage sale again down there for the Miracle, or not for the Miracle, but for their Figure Skating Association. We'll be in contact a lot more in the coming weeks with the figure skating community. But, if you folks are watching, we want you to get in touch with us too, and we'll have a way for you to do that. Okay, I'm going to talk about curling a little bit, and then we're going to move on to junior hockey and really put you to work. But, the next, counting today, and 2 more Sundays from here, we got Learn to Curl right here. And I think they're right here. We need to check that because on their Facebook page, they had at the Ice and Rec Center, but then I saw another post that they're out here doing this ice. So the best thing to do is contact Sioux Falls Curling through their Facebook page, and they'll get you to the right spot. But I think that's really cool that they're actually in there, teaching people how to curl.
Oh, absolutely. And I have never done curling before. I've watched it. I've watched the Olympic curling group. It is such a cool sport. Much more about science and physics and that type of stuff than anything else. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat. And one of the posts that I saw that they were talking about learning to curl, they have the students, the learners, right alongside of a live game.
Yeah.
So they get to look at that and see what's going on.
That's cool.
In Watertown, they're doing the same thing. They're doing starting curling, and that's going to be, of course, at the Maze Ice Center. I don't know if you've heard this rumor or not. I heard a rumor last week that Watertown is going to get a 2-seater up there.
I have heard a rumor. I believe that they're looking at building a second sheet. I know they've been fundraising. That's really all I know about it. I don't know how soon it's going to happen, and I'm not exactly sure which side of the building it's going to go on. Watertown's a really traditional hockey group here in South Dakota. They've been around a long time. I have a personal friend of mine who grew up with me in the late 70s. That's the 1970s. Who was on a state championship hockey team in Watertown. So that Watertown hockey group has been around a long, long time.
Well, we were up there for the girls' varsity tournament last year. Just we just got treated like aces. And it was a great year. Full access, whatever you wanted to do, and it was a lot of fun covering those girls. So, okay, well, let's see a couple other housekeeping items. We have the Pro Celebrity Hunt coming up November 14th and 15th in Mitchell. And that really looks like a tremendous lot of fun. If you go to ProCelebrityHunt.com, you're going to be able to get the details there. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to probably try to get there at least to a banquet or something. Okay. So anyway, Randy, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's going on in junior high?
Well, I spent the afternoon today and pretty much a lot of the weekend watching junior hockey and doing some research on the games that happened this weekend. And I'm going to start with the North American League teams. We have two of them here in South Dakota, the Brookings Blizzard and the Aberdeen Wings. Both teams played 2 games this weekend. Brookings played 2 up in Minot against the Minatoros. What a great name.
Minotauro.
The Minatoros. I love it. Friday night, the Blizzard won 4-1. Zach Blinky had a 3-point night. He had a goal and an assist, or goal and 2 assists, excuse me. Pat Flynn, Bo Gronseth, and Connor Hutchins each had a goal in the victory, and their goaltender, Eric Hancock, stopped 22 shots for the victory. Ryan Seth, Pat Flynn, Alex Copa, Bo Michon, and Christopher Brune each had an assist on the night. So it's a really good all-around scoring night for the Blizzard. They turn around Saturday night, play the same team in Minot, and Minot took the match 3-1. Now, a 3-1 score can always throws up a lot of questions. How was the game? You know, a 3-1 game can be either a really bad game or a really tight game with an empty netter at the end. And I believe that's what it was. The Saturday night, an empty net goal with 59 seconds remaining to make the 3-1 victory for Minot. Scoreless first period. Minot got their first goal a minute 30 into the second. They had another one at 9:14. And then Brookings had the lone goal scored with 3:15 remaining in the second, and Jimmy Morgan scored that, assisted by Tyler Frischman. And then Brookings had a really tough time on offense, it seems, on Saturday night. They only had 12 shots on goal for the entire night. Game was kept close by goaltender Eric Hancock. He had 32 saves on the night. So all in all, you know, a pretty decent weekend for Brookings with a split in Minot. When you're in the North American League, that is the Tier 2 league for USA Hockey Junior A. A split on the road is usually a pretty good deal.
You know, and they're like last year, the same deal. Their goalies kept them in a lot of games over the year, and it looks like they're going to have the same kind of quality in the goal this year.
Absolutely, and it seems like they've got a couple of former Stampede players up there this year. Chris Brune, I believe, defenseman, and then one of the guys, Kerry Eads' son, is playing up there in Brookings this year. Eads had tried out down here for the Stampede, and then ended up going up to Brookings to play for the Blizzard. So
you always want to get one of those coaches' kids because they know how to be coached.
Well, and I got the chance to watch Coach's son last year at the Minnesota State Hockey Tournament, and he was an absolute beast on the ice. He's a defenseman. Reminds me of his dad when his dad played a long time ago. His dad was pretty gritty, kind of tough, didn't mind dropping the gloves a little bit if he needed to. And now that doesn't happen all that much anymore in high school, obviously, but, you know.
Well, even in junior hockey, don't they when they get kicked out of a game for fighting?
You know what?
When they get in a fight, they get penalized with minutes?
Absolutely. The junior leagues this year, USA Hockey are dropping down some really, really stiff penalties this year for fighting. A fight is an automatic 5 and a misconduct, so it's 15 minutes. You're going to sit for a fight. If you instigate the fight, you get an extra 2. If you pull somebody's helmet off, you get a game misconduct. I mean, there's literally 10 new penalties this year for fighting. So USA Hockey is they're just trying to eliminate it from the game. And, you know, you can kind of toss either way against that. My first gut feel about that was that it's a good thing because, you know, these kids are high school kids. That are playing in junior hockey. They're the under 20. They're trying to get a college scholarship. And in college, you don't allow fighting in high school. Why do you allow fighting in juniors? It's just kind of a question mark for me.
Well, you know, and I remember back in the day, you know, that old adage that, you know, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. And, you know, I think the game has progressed so far in terms of skill and technique and the mentality of the skaters.
Yeah.
That, it's probably not that necessary a thing anymore because it's exciting and interesting to watch a hockey game, just watch them play hockey.
Oh, absolutely. I think you're still going to see some, and I don't think it's going to be ever eliminated from the game just because I'll call it the code. Because, the hockey code is that if you go out and hurt my buddy, then I've got somebody that I'm going to hurt on your team.
Yeah.
It's kind of the payback thing. But, I think that it's going to be very reduced in USA hockey at the junior level and beyond. I have a firm belief that 5-10 years from now, you're not going to see much fighting anymore in pros either. Once again, I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying I believe that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and the culture. I mean, like you were saying, it's not allowed in any other levels of hockey, and it's not allowed in any other sports. And obviously you're in close proximity, and it's very challenging. But there's nothing wrong with just playing it straight up either. And
Absolutely.
and all the great hockey players that I remember really weren't very much for goons. They were skaters and shooters.
Yeah, absolutely. Although you do have the Gordie Howe hat trick that's out there, The goal, an assist, and a fight.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, moving on to Aberdeen. The Wings had a weekend on the road as well. They were up in Richfield, Minnesota, taking on the expansion Minnesota Magicians. What a great name for a team.
Yeah.
I got a chance to watch a little bit of that game on the internet over the weekend. Friday night, the Wings scored at 2:45 of the first period. So right away out the gate, get a goal by Austin Swingle, assisted by Michael Saucier, and that was it. Nothing more for the Wings. Actually, nothing more for the Wings for the entire weekend in the goal.
Wow.
That was their only goal they scored. The Magicians scored 4 unanswered goals, 4-1 victory, and their goaltender Chad Pat had 22 saves for the Wings in the loss. Saturday night actually ended up being a much closer game. The Wings were outscored 2-0 for the final. Andrew Shortridge was in goal that night, and he had 23 saves on the night. The Wings ended the evening with 18 shots on goal that night, so they had a little bit, a decent night in terms of offense. They just couldn't get any pucks in the net. And, that happens.
Some days you eat the bear, and some days the bear eats you. And that's, and every sport where you only get 1 point a goal, it's like that.
Yeah, it is. Now, next weekend, Aberdeen travels to Minot to take on the Minot Toros. Love that name. And then Brookings does a home and away with Bismarck. So they're playing, I believe, Friday night, Halloween night, at the Larson Ice Center. And I know they've got some special things going on up there that night. Check them out on their website. And then Saturday night, two teams hop on a bus and drive up to Bismarck and play in Bismarck on Saturday night. And then they do the same thing the next weekend, just the other way around. Friday night in Bismarck, Saturday night in Brookings. What a great bus trip, huh?
Oh yeah, that's a dream trip there.
Well, let's hop on the bus and drive 6 hours and play hockey with each other, right?
And then go play in the other guy's barn tomorrow.
Absolutely. So in the Central Division of the North American Hockey League, Aberdeen and Brookings are very close. Aberdeen's actually in third place right now with 14 points with a record of 7-7, and Brookings is in fifth place. 2, 3, 4. Yes, fifth place with a record of 5-5-3. They have one less game played, and they have 13 points. So they're right in there in the hunt. Austin, Minnesota, the team that was second place in their league last year, or second place for the championship in the North American Hockey League last year. They're in the league lead with 20 points right now.
All right. Well, before you get on to Stampede,
There we go.
let's talk a little bit about a brand new product that we came up with. We about a year or so ago started developing this program to help take the printed tournament programs and put them on the smartphone. And boy, we've had just a tremendous amount of success with that. We've got a lot of tournaments around the country actually now working with us to do that. And so I just wanted to let people know, if you're around a tournament or involved or run one, you ought to go to tourneyprogram.com and just take a look and see how that thing works, because it is, I'll tell you what, it's the best thing since pockets and swimming trunks. And you know, it's designed to help your visitors experience. But you know, one of the things, like a guy this summer I worked with, I called him and he runs a big tournament, and he said, "Randy, you just saved me $4,500 in printing costs." And imagine getting rid of your printing costs every year for the rest of your tournament experience. So anyway, we want you to go by tourneyprogram.com. Take a look at the product. If you have any questions, of course, get back with us. All right. Let's get back to Randy, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Stampede. And actually, probably talk quite a bit about them, because, I mean, if there's a team you know about, it's the Stampede.
Just a little, I guess, right? Yeah, as one of the off-ice officials and the weeknight PA voice for the Stampede, I tend to hang around with those guys a little bit. Gotten to know quite a few of them over the years. The coaches, you know, Jimmy Olander, what a great group of people. Now, Stampede had 2 nights on the road this weekend, and they had a pretty tough weekend on the road. They played in Madison on Friday night in a rematch against the previous Friday night, when the Madison Capitals came to Sioux Falls and played, and the Stampede scored their first victory in the new Premier Center. Madison avenged their loss that week. They had a 3-1 win against the Herd. Stampede struck first at 4:53 of the first with a shorthanded goal from Logan O'Connor, assisted by Lucas Bukta and Dakota Joshua. And then Madison scored 2 more goals in the last 7 minutes of that first period. They took a 2-1 lead then to the locker room in the first. A scoreless second period, which was actually a pretty exciting period. A lot of back and forth, a lot of shots taken, no goals. Both goaltenders basically standing on their head to keep it a tight game. Madison scored a shorthanded goal with just under 4 minutes left in the game, and then the Stampede pulled Art Bry, their goaltender, with the game to try to make up that 2-goal deficit, and they didn't do it. They had plenty of shots on goal in that last couple minutes, and really missed a couple of golden opportunities with empty nets that they just couldn't quite put the puck in. Stampede, Bry took the loss on the night, 27 saves. So, you know, 30 shots on goal by Madison. Stampede absolutely had their sticks alive on Friday night, 41 shots on goal. That seems to be a trademark this year for the Stampede. They are getting a ton. You talk to the coaches, they'll tell you they're not all quality shots, but they are shots nonetheless. So, and
You aren't gonna score if you don't shoot.
no, they're not. And it was a tough night. I know, listening to the coaches program, Coach Eads was not at all pleased with their performance on Friday night, knowing that the Madison Capitals were the last place team in the league in the East. That he felt the Stampede should have had no trouble with them, and unfortunately, it just wasn't to be.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's junior hockey, and you know, anybody that I mean, I figured this out a long time ago. If you pin any part of your happiness on the outcome of a bunch of 19, 20-year-old guys, you're not going to be happy all the time. No. But you know, when they get in these runs and play good hockey, and you know, then that kind of makes up for everything. But that's why they're there, to learn that consistency and how to accomplish what they need to accomplish.
Oh, absolutely. And Coach Eads, Coach Bragnolo, they will tell you at any point, you walk up and talk to them, and they will tell you that Tier 1 juniors, USHL junior hockey right now, is the tightest it has ever been in terms of team quality across the board. They'll tell you they've never seen anything where, you know, I mean, if you look at the Stampede record right now on the year, they're gracious. I don't even have it here. I should. Stampede is 3-6-1 the first 10 games. They have all 6 of them were 1-goal games. So it's a coin flip. And the good news is that they've had a couple of really good games recently in the Premier Center, getting the crowds really jacked up, and you know, it's going to be a good year.
Speaking of that, I haven't been in there for a game yet, but you know, going to the arena, and I mean there were some things about that arena, the history, the kind of I guess we were all kind of close together. But that Premier Center looks like that is a world-class operation over there.
There is not another building in the league of that size and that quality. Opening night, they had, I believe the number was 10,600 fans for opening night. That's a record for a USHL game on opening night in a in a home environment where it is actually their home rink. Yeah. There have been a couple of other things where they've gone someplace else, or they've played an outdoor game or something like that where they've had some good crowds. But 10,600 folks, and it was a party. And even though the Stampede got beat that night, it was quite an event. And if you have not been in that building yet, Randy, you got to go, man.
I got to go.
There is absolutely nothing like it in the rest of the league. The video, the scoreboards, the sound, the view on the ice. Not really a bad seat in the house other than the one my wife has. They stuck her behind a pillar on the fence or something. I don't know. She'll show you a picture someday. But the building was designed for hockey, as opposed to the arena where it was retrofitted for hockey. And the Stampede played there for 15 years, and it was a great home ice.
Yeah.
But it was small. The ice was not regulation. And if you weren't in the front row, you didn't have a good seat. Well, that has been solved with this new building. It's incredible.
Well, my favorite memories at the arena were back in the days of the State B basketball tournament, which was every year the most incredible event you could ever possibly go to. And I mean, there was no other place you could have that in South Dakota than was the arena. But I remember those days. But boy, what a great old building that thing has served a lot of people over the decades.
Well, we are really looking forward to some more games coming up in the Denny Sanford Premier Center. I had a blast. I got to PA my first game in there on a Wednesday night against Sioux City. It's a little different from a PA standpoint because the building is so much larger that it takes longer to hear yourself echo back. And so you have to really tone out what you're saying. Yeah, just read the script. Read the script.
Those of us guys who are married are pretty good at toning that out anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right.
I understand. All right. Continuing on with the herd. Saturday night, trip to Cedar Rapids to play the Rough Riders. And just so happens that they went from Madison, which is the last place team in the East, to the Rough Riders, which is the first place team in the East. So quite a bit of change in terms of the quality of the team, or so you would think. And it was Pink in the Rink night in Cedar Rapids. So they had their breast cancer awareness night there, and the place was packed at a zoo. I've not been in that building ever, but I've driven by it a few times, and I was over in Cedar Rapids. It looks like a pretty nice facility, and the place was packed last night. So Herd did get off to a slow start. They were outshot 14-7 in the first period. CR scored twice. They took a 2-0 lead to the locker room in the first. In the second, the Stampede really livened it up. They scored 2 goals to Cedar Rapids' 1 goal in the second. So at the end of the second, it was 4-3, or no, 4-2, 3-2, 3-2. There we go. I'll look at a box score here, and I don't have it. Anyway, for the Stampede, Joey Marooney scored the first goal at 5:56 of the second with an assist by Kiefer Bellows. Cedar Rapids scored a goal at 15:13, and then the Stampede made it interesting with a goal at 19:33. 27 seconds left in the second period. Goal by Kiefer Bellows, assisted by Clint Lewis. The third period really saw no scoring, but multiple opportunities for both teams. The Stampede pulled goaltender Stefanos Lekas with 1:15 remaining in the game to have an extra attacker. And once again, the Stampede had several opportunities for goals, once or twice with pucks that were right on the doorstep and didn't get pushed in the net. And then after several missed opportunities, CR scored an empty netter with 3 seconds left in the game to ice it 4-2 final. Stampede had a total of 30 shots on goal, and Stefanos Lekas took the loss. He had 29 saves. So all in all, a much better performance by the Stampede, but unfortunately the same outcome. Still an L.
Yeah. Well, you know, L's against a top-ranked team are a little bit different than L's against a bottom-ranked team. Well, you know, every year, you know, they have 3 or 4 guys who are just really, really shiny. Who are we looking at this year? Other than Dakota, who's probably got the best name for any hockey player in South Dakota.
I love Dakota Joshua. I mean, I've talked to him a few times, and I've asked, and I said, you belong here. Where else could you play? It's either here or Fargo. You got your choice, right? But, you know, the goaltending duo, Art Bry and Stefanos Lekas, are 2 high-quality, very good goaltenders. They do have a couple of other players that have come through with junior experience. I'm trying to remember all the names, but there was a gentleman they brought over from Waterloo that is a pretty decent goal scorer, Dennis Warpeka, and he's going to be open some eyes this year. You've got Tyler Nanny with the Nanny last name. I mean, and he's played in all 10 games so far. He's a defenseman by trade, but I think 3 of the last 4 games he's played forward. So nice little wrinkle there.
Yeah.
And he's an exciting player to watch. If you want to watch any one person on the ice, I'd recommend Tyler.
Right.
Art Bry, just to mention, he is an undrafted, uncommitted 20-year-old. So he doesn't have a college yet. He's got 3 years in the USHL. He played a year with Dubuque, and down at Dubuque led the team to the Clark Cup championship the year he was down there. That was 2 years ago. Last year played 32 games here for Sioux Falls, and has played 6 of the 10 here for Sioux Falls so far this year. In his career in the USHL, he has a .903 save percentage. He's got a 2.5 goals against average. This year, so far for Sioux Falls, .923 save percentage and a 184 goals against. The guy is amazing. And he was the Reebok goaltender of the week last week for the USHL.
You think he'll finish out the whole season here, or is somebody going to pick him up?
I think if he continues on the road that he's on, he'll be here. I think that hopefully he'll find a college that will pick him up in the next year. And then, you know, after that, once he gets on that college run, anything's possible after that. As I recall, there are, you know, the Stampede this year is a very, very young team. They only had 4 returning players from last year. And of the players on the team, I think only 7 or 8 with prior junior experience. So it's a very, very young team this year. That's going to take a while for them to gel and to kind of learn the game at that level. It's a little bit of a jump from high school hockey where you're the star to junior hockey where you're one of 21 or 25 players on a team.
Right. Well, and Kerry, maybe you'll need to up your blood pressure medicine for a few months here just with that youth. So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right.
Just a real quick thing
Yep.
here on the USHL so far. Sioux Falls is near the bottom of the league right now in terms of their record. They have 7 points. They're tied with Lincoln. The 4 bottom teams in the central or in the western division of the USHL right now are Waterloo with 8 points, Lincoln with 7 points, Sioux Falls with 7 points, and Omaha with 6 points. So once again, it's a very tight. You know, we're only 10 games in. So it's going to be a very interesting year, I think.
All the games are counting. when they're that
Absolutely.
close.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to do one more shout out here. And actually, this shout out is for you folks because, you know, one of the things that we really strive to do here this week on the ice is to involve as many people and as many sports and as many activities as we can. And, you know, the reality is we don't have an opportunity to call everybody in every town. And you have an opportunity to let us know, though, about what's going on in your organization, what your kids are doing, what your organizations in your community are going. So I wanted to put this up. Just email us at thisweek@hockey605.com, and we'll do everything we can to get you on there. Another thing we can do, and we're going to be asking you to do this, is to actually join us on the Google Hangout from where you are, and let you talk about your team, your players, your organization, what's going on in your town. And we really look forward to doing that. So, Randy, we made it.
We did.
The inaugural show. And, oh, yeah, just one last thing. I forgot to throw the rush in, but just a short report. They're 3-3 right now. They moved conferences. They look like they're going to be really happy there. They've got about half their team are Americans, and which is, in the past has been pretty much Canada or from somewhere else. So we're seeing the American players reach that level and be able to compete there. So,
and they changed leagues this year too. They went from the Continental League folded, if I remember right, and they're now on the East Coast Hockey League, correct?
Okay. So anyway, Randy, it's been great working with you tonight. I can't wait to sit down again the next time we do. You're going to be on an airplane next week.
Yeah, I unfortunately have to make a trip to Missoula, Montana next Sunday. So.
Well, I had Chris Derry get on a Google Hangout with me driving down Highway 14 on his Android here a couple weeks ago. So, you never know.
If I can figure it out from the airplane, I'll be happy to do it.
Okay. Well, most of all, though, thank you for watching This Week on the Ice. And please make sure and get in touch with us if you have any news or announcements. We look forward to being here every Sunday night for you at 7 o'clock Central and to bring you what's going on around the ice. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Okay, and stop.